do a shot of meth and go to the casino for 4 or 5 weeks.
Weeks.
I wouldn't even leave for days on. It was so sad. I talk about it, but it's like, it's not a point of pride. It's just a fact that, I spent, I think, 3 Christmases in a row in casinos, and in 2 of those Christmases I had a family, and that was the lifestyle I become addicted to.
Welcome back to the Hopeaholics podcast. I'm your girl, Natalie Eva Marie.
And I'm Chad Carlson, and you're listening to the #1 addiction and mental health podcast.
And you guys, if you or a loved one is struggling, make sure you head to askevamarie.com or chaddict.com and chat with one of our AI companions 24/7.
Or text the number right here on the screen.
Together, we are breaking the stigma around addiction and mental health.
And fighting the fentanyl epidemic.
Now, let's get into the episode.
Yes, welcome to the Hopeaholics podcast.
Thank you.
Yes.
See you. Good to be here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How far?
He's from Kansas.
Yeah, from Kansas.
Kansas.
Yes.
There's tornadoes in Kansas.
There's a lot of things in Kansas.
Dorothy.
Huh?
Dorothy.
Yeah,
Dorothy.
she got like freaking swooped up in a tornado and landed in Oz.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't remember?
Well, I remember what's coming to my memory right now is one of the ladies, was it Dorothy, underneath the house? And her slipper showing? Or was that the Wicked Witch?
That was a witch.
Yeah, that was a good witch.
Was it the good witch?
Oh, was it the Good Witch?
She killed the good witch and a bad witch came in. One of the good witches.
Yeah, there was like a couple good
I
witches.
need to watch that again.
Why do I know it so well?
Yeah.
I've seen it a few times. I mean, it was really good. And then at the end, when you find out who the wizard was, the Wizard of Oz, just some guy behind a fucking curtain. It's playing at the Dome, and I think Donna was going to get us tickets for when we go to Vegas in at the end of August for our 10-year wedding anniversary. Yeah,
You should go see it.
it'd be dope.
Maybe it's meant to be now.
Yeah, in the Dome.
Talking about
Did you see the Dome?
I seen it flying in.
You seen it flying in?
Yeah, that was it.
It's pretty dope.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, you didn't
Pretty
leave the airport?
No, I didn't. I'm also in recovery from gambling, so never.
Are you really?
Yes, that was became my biggest addiction at the end.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, it became the rush of it was amazing, and do a shot of meth and go to the casino for 4 or 5 weeks.
Weeks.
I wouldn't even leave for days on. It was so sad, and I talk about it, but it's like, it's not a point of pride. It's just a fact that I spent, I think, 3 Christmases in a row in casinos, and in 2 of those Christmases I had a family, and that was the lifestyle I become addicted to.
Dang.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it was crazy.
We've had gamblers on recently. Obviously, we had Shohei Ohtani's bookie on.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. He was dropping. He had a gambling addiction. That's his main thing, man.
Well, there's people that have like the gambling addiction. That's their main addiction. Mine became like an added addiction. You know what I'm saying? Because everything I got involved with drugs. I mean, it initially started out, with the pills, and then it got out. I was always alcohol, then the pills, and then when I went to prison, there was no pills in prison. So I got the heroin, and then it went on to heroin and the meth, and then so on and so forth. And then meth is just so prevalent, especially in Kansas. When I got back to Kansas, and yeah, and then every addiction came with it. You know what I'm saying? The adrenaline. So I was always looking for the next, the next girl, or the next gambling, or whatever, the next adventure to go on and rob somebody or whatever. So it was great.
Yeah.
Talk about it now. It's like it was like normal then, but
Yeah.
now it seems like never in a million years could I do something like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Your story, I mean, just reading up on you a little bit, is really wild. Like, you have so many kind of elements into your life story to where you are today. Let's go back. So were you born and raised in Kansas?
Okay, so this was kind of, like I said, I tell people all the time, and I used to not tell this first part of my story when I used to, because I go up to Valley Hope, the place where I graduated rehab, and I go back up there and I speak every month just because I'm so grateful for this place. Anytime they ask me, Jess, can you come up? I'm like, on my way, They asked me last weekend on a Saturday. They're like, hey, we had a cancellation. Can you come up? I'm like, yes, you guys saved my life. I'll be there in a minute. It's 30 minutes from my house. So to back up from that is the Valley Hope thing is, I grew up in Kansas City. I was born in Kansas City, Missouri. Let me back up from there. I was born in Kansas City, Missouri. My mom was married to my biological father. They were in a really bad addictive relationship. Codependent. Cocaine was, the 80s was cocaine. Everything was cocaine. And he for some reason, I don't know, I was a baby, and he moved her down to Georgia. From there, he was arrested. Let me say a little this. I had a brother. I was, I think, 3 when he got arrested. My brother was 6, and my sister was 9. Okay. And my sister was my half sister. She was staying with my mom and my biological father. He was arrested and brought up on charges of child rape.
Oh shit.
Yeah, my brother and sister, and apparently on me too, but I didn't obviously remember or know anything about it. So he went to prison for 35 years in Georgia. My mom had moved back. My sister moved out to Colorado with her father, her biological dad, to keep her safe, because obviously they didn't think that my mom was a fit mother, for that environment, all that was going on. And this is, you got to realize this is all from what my sister and brother and, parents have told me over the years. I obviously was too young for this, but we moved back to Southeast Kansas. My mom met my stepdad, who was my dad. Now he adopted me later on in life. And my parents I still talk to them, and we have a love you from afar relationship. And I think my parents did the best they could with what they were given in life, the tools they were given in life. And that's what I say is, like, I don't blame my parents for my actions today, right? I can't do that. But there was a lot of my dad was he drank way too much, and it was a lot of just a really unhealthy household growing up. And anyways, so I was also later on throughout my first, from like 5 to 12, was abused over the years. And so I grew up really, really angry at the world, and I wrestled, and it was like, I just had this chip on my shoulder. I was always successful in school, but things were it was just rough. And I started drinking when I was probably, 10, 12 years old. I had my first drink and quickly moved on to weed. And I didn't do drugs in high school or anything like that. But, no, I didn't even try meth until after high school. But I drank but I graduated with like 3.6. I was really successful. I didn't want to go to college, but so 9/11 happened. I just graduated high school, and I was like, I'm going to join the Army. And so I was like, I didn't know anything about, I didn't even know what the Twin Towers were. I was like, whatever it is, we're going to war.
Yeah.
You know how rednecks in Kansas are, right? I was from South, and
Yeah.
I grew up on a farm, so like the culture of me was like, I didn't know anything outside of the farm.
Right.
That was it. And I knew what was on the news, and I knew that, we were getting ready to you're talking about going to war. So I was like, I'm in. And so I joined to be a scout, a cavalry scout. And then I went to airborne school after basic training. Then I went to South Korea, my first duty station. So I love South Korea because it was a different culture for me. I was away from what I grew up in, right? And I wanted to get away from there. That was my main purpose for joining the military. I wanted to serve. I've always been someone who liked to serve. I've always been someone who liked to be of service to people. That's why I do what I do today. And but I just had a different idea of it back then. So yeah, I joined the Army, became a scout, went to Korea, and Korea was like, man, it was beautiful. There was a lot of drinking there, and I loved it because I fit in really well there. I was 20 years old. The drinking age in Korea was 20, so I could drink all I wanted. And I thought it was meant to be, right?
Yeah.
The powers that be want me to drink alcohol. And so I partied hard, and like everybody else did, but I was always the one, like, I remember my first drink of alcohol. It was the first time in my life that I felt normal. That I was like, I have confidence, because I was a little dude in high school. I'm not a big dude now, but I graduated high school like 120 pounds, and I didn't do drugs. I was just a little guy, and so I'd never had any real confidence in me, right? And so that alcohol gave me that boost of confidence where I was okay to talk to girls. I was okay to, just be a cool guy, I thought. My definition of cool. So I went to Korea. War kicked off when I was over there. I was able to go to air assault school where you repelled out helicopters from there. It was like an 11-day course I went to over there. And then the war kicked off. I watched the invasion of Baghdad go down from a chow hall in South Korea. And I was like, oh, man, this is what I joined the war for, So I went back to Fort Carson, went to sniper school there, had an MTT course come out there. So I was at sniper school there. Right after that, we deployed to Iraq. And tour was great, man. We were finding IEDs. We were, taking down bad guys. And I was drinking a lot, and let me back up a little bit from there. I always get kind of thrown around with the story. It's like I had a high school girlfriend that we were together for like 7 years, and then it was kind of, it wasn't real. I was such an alcoholic, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause it was like I wasn't good for anybody. I had all this trauma that I was carrying around, and then I was just doing whatever I wanted to do with people. It was just not I wasn't like a great person. Just an Army, I was a sergeant when I deployed to Iraq. I made sergeant 2 years, 2.5 years in the Army, which is really fast. And then I deployed in, and we got May 21st of 2006. Everything changed from my I don't know, a pivot point in my life where we got hit with an IED. I was a gunner on a Humvee, a 50 cal gunner, and I got ejected from the turret and broke my collarbone. I half my collarbone fake. Broke some ribs. We had one guy get burned really, really bad. Interpreter got burned. I don't know if he made it or not. Long story short, I ended up staying in Iraq. We had two guys go home for the burns. I didn't have any real major burns. I ended up staying after the broken bones and everything and finishing my tour out. Came home, and I was on all these Oxycontins and all these pills. And at this time, that's what's crazy. I was 2,000 miles away from home, and addiction found me, right? Like I was always that alcoholic, but I never got into the pills or anything really other than that. I tried a couple things, but I never really got into it. And the pills kind of became one of those things where I realized that I could go to work, I could stay up, do what I needed to do, and nobody ever knew that I was high because I wasn't like tweaking where you're freaking, biting at the wind and stuff like that. I was just normal is what I thought, but I was really angry all the time. I noticed that. But I had all these pills, so then I got home and had these surgeries. I got promoted to staff sergeant, and my high school girlfriend, she left me because she's like, "You're in that job." The guy that deployed is not the guy that I grew up with, right? And it's not who I knew. And I got married to my first wife. We had 2 quick kids, and she tried to stay with me. Like she really battled it out,
And you met her when you came back between deployments?
Yeah, well, yes. Yes and no. I knew her before I deployed. She was married, and we kind of had a little thing, and then she got divorced when I was deployed, and so we decided to try it out. And it wasn't. And I would say the problem was not her, by any means. It was me, But we had, and gratefully, back then it was like she ended up having to end up raising my daughter and her son basically by herself for the first, how many years. We got divorced. I found out I was getting out of the Army. They called me in and said, "Hey, you can't stay in. We're getting ready to redeploy to Iraq." And they said, "Hey, you're done. You got to get out." And, that was the hardest thing for me to take, was saying, "Hey, I would already re-enlisted to, indefinite," meaning that, you get out when the Army's through with you. So I was on a fast track to make sergeant first class, and I had all these goals in life, and it wasn't family. It was, the success of the military. So yeah, and I was a disaster. I was a walking disaster. I was on so many of these psychotropics they had me on, all these meds they had me on. It was crazy. They just threw at me the meds they threw at me, and I'm not blaming the military, but they didn't know how to deal with me. And plus I was drinking every day, and that doesn't do anything with pills. So my first wife, we ended up getting divorced, and I'm going through this divorce, and I meet my second wife, who is younger, wilder, what you're looking for, I guess, when you're going through a divorce. Any guy, I don't know you know what I mean? I think it was just one of those things. It's like, it was unhealthy. I was unhealthy, and I was doing more and more pills, and we got her hooked on pills. I got out of the military I got an honorable discharge, medical retirement. So I got retired as a staff sergeant. I took it, and I had Purple Heart and all these crazy awards. And I was like, man, I'm set for life. I got the GI Bill, and I got all these things. I'm going to school full time at Colorado Tech University for business, which I had zero interest in business, but I was just going because that's what I thought I was supposed to do.
And how old are you at this time?
25, maybe 26.
Young.
I was young. I was in the Army for 6 years, so I joined it as a 19, so I was 25 or 26, right around there. I got out in March of 2009, and got married in July. I got married in May that year. 3 months later, I got married. In June, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fast and loose.
Bad decisions is what I was about. whatever was like that day. That's what was crazy. Is like I was getting out of the Army and I was drinking so bad. I was doing so many pills, and I was getting in trouble for the Army. They were saying, "Hey, you can't be taking all these pills. We're prescribing you too much." So I would go off down range and go to the ER. I need more pills, and I had TRICARE, so they just so I had all these pills coming in, and I got her hooked on pills because that's what any good addict does. Is just they don't want their partners to succeed any more than they do, right? So I got her hooked on pills, and it was a really toxic relationship. She was cheating and all the time, and I was trying to chase her down. You know what I mean? But I love her, Jerry.
Yeah.
And it was really bad, and I wasn't a good person. I wasn't a good guy at all. And well, anyway, so I was out of the Army, and I was going to school full time. And I had my best friend from the Army, one of the guys who was deployed with me, and he was still active duty. He came over and long story short, they ended up having an affair that night, right? I passed out. They left.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And that was your, buddy?
My new wife. And my buddy. My best friend. One of my best friends. So, and I didn't even know half this until I read the discovery sitting in county jail. You know what I mean? So I woke up in county jail because I woke up and when they came back, and I woke up in county jail with like what we call it a second-degree assault. A lot of people call it aggravated battery. I had first-degree attempted murder charges.
Oh, shit.
400.
Wait, this is that same night?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So they charged me with first-degree kidnapping, first-degree attempted murder. And I'm like in county jail, and they're like bringing me into this place, and it's like get in front of a camera, and they're like, "These are your charges in Colorado Springs jail." And I'm like, what's going on, man? What did I do, right? And I remember that I got really angry, and I remember fighting and all this stuff, and I didn't realize it was like a long, drawn-out ordeal. And then I remember the detective comes in, and she's like, hey, and I'm thinking, I've never been involved with the legal system my whole life. I had a DUI, right? And I was like, she's like, hey, you're ranged on these charges, and your bond's $400,000. And I was like, so am I going to go to prison? She's like, prison? Probably for life. And I was like, what? She's like, these are, and if anybody dies over this situation, we're gonna get you with first degree premeditated murder. And I was like, and so I called my mom, I called my parents, my folks who were there for me, very supportive. We'd healed a lot of relationships, and we had a good relationship at that point, right? And they came out and they hired a really expensive lawyer. And this news, I fought it for 16 weeks on Colorado Springs jail. And finally, my lawyer went to the news and was like, hey, they're trying to throw this guy who's never been in trouble in his entire life in prison for 25 years. And the news got hold of it, and they ran the story. And about 3 months later, they come in with a deal that said 5 years prison. And
wait, what happened that night?
Oh, the night, well, it was...
from what you read, because you don't remember, right?
Well, I do remember pieces of it. You know what I'm saying? I remember that, they'd come back, he had dropped her off. We got into a scuffle outside and fight outside. It drug into the house, the apartment, and someone had seen me dragging someone through the hallway, and they called the cops. And, I think the cops, 6 hours before they got there, or 4 hours, whatever they got there. So, it was, but here's the thing was my lawyer was really good. He went to JAG, right, and said that because my soldier was active duty still, right? My guy was active duty.
Your friend.
Yes. And, and if you commit adultery when it's in your Army, it's UCMJ. You can get brought up on charges in the military for that.
Oh, wow.
So they didn't pursue charges on that. So I was able to get a lower charge of second degree assault in prison.
Who did you kidnap?
My wife.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't a kidnapping thing. It was just that she said that kidnapping can be if you don't let someone leave your apartment.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was like,
Saying that you couldn't leave.
They
Oh,
didn't.
got it.
I wasn't convinced. It was just they trumped up all these charges
Yeah.
on me, right? Trying to get me to get a life sentence, And they said that it was they said it was a kidnapping situation, and they ended up dropping that and pleading out to a lower case of assault. But what's crazy about it is that the DA was like, I don't want to give you any prison time based upon everything that I know now about everything that's happened. He says, but the victim's advocacy will have my ass if they don't throw you in prison and this is the minimum amount of time I can give you for this case. And so he's like, sign the deal, you'd be out in 3 years. And the Wounded Warrior Project was involved, and they're like, we don't want this guy to do any time. We watched our other veterans go to prison and come out not veterans anymore. Not.
Yeah, you come out a convict.
Yeah, you come out of convict. That's exactly. And that's exactly what happened. I had assault charges, second degree assault, aggravated battery, whatever you guys want to call it. Went to a prison, it was like a medium closed prison, we call it in Colorado. It was Crowley Correctional Facility. It's a private prison. And, but it was, I was in a gang in 3 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't like, hey, Jess, you want to be part of us? It was like, hey, Jess, you're either with us or you're against us. This is how this is how we do it here. And I had money and I was able to like to fight. So that was like two big things that people look for, because you have money. So you're part of you can help fund everything you need in jail, pretty much drugs, basically tattoos and all that stuff. So I got in prison and it just went straight. I remember thinking to myself, if they want me to be this criminal, then I'll be the best criminal I can be. You know what I mean? I just remember thinking that because I was like, I remember seeing myself on the news and I was like, man, now I have these charges. It's like, violent assault charges, and there's no honor in that. There's no honor in being a staff sergeant and having these charges anymore. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go all out, and I did. And I went to prison and I got out. I started doing meth in prison, heroin to meth, and then I got out. I was out for 2 months, and I was really high on meth. And my parole officer calls me in Colorado and says, hey, we're gonna revoke your bond or revoke your parole. Revoke your parole. We're gonna send you down on for like a turnaround. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And so I ended up fighting him, headbutting him, and they get me another charge of assault, same exact charge as the first second degree assault, same assault. This one was on an LEO because he was a parole officer and I was inside of a parole office. So they got me with a charge called assault in custody or in jail. It's like same thing if I'd assaulted a corrections officer. So I went back to prison and I tried to OD on my 30th birthday. It was just it was a disaster. And now this time, then I went to Lyman. Lyman, Colorado is one of the roughest prisons in the United States. It was on lockdown, Lyman. It's got the show. And then I was really, really, really thugging it hard there, and really involved politically. And it was a nightmare there. And I finished which was crazy because it's a max place, right? 23-1. You're out for rec. You get 1 hour out of rec, and it's just a freaking heyday. So I'm there, like, you can't go to a minimum security prison, but we'll let you out on parole because your time ended. Isn't that crazy? And so I was like, where do I go? And I'm like, well, I had nowhere to parole to, so I came back to Kansas. Then I got back here, back home on the farm, my parents' house, and it wasn't their fault. My dad, my dad was still drinking. I was there for 3 weeks before I was gone, running, doing drugs. Distribution charges.
You found the meth in Kansas?
Meth in Kansas, brother. Yeah.
And how old are you?
Do they make the meth in Kansas, or do they does it get shipped in? Because California, nobody makes meth anymore. It just all comes from Mexico.
Not anymore. There was a time when I was there, people were doing shake and bake.
Yeah, the shake and bake.
Shake and bake. Yeah, that was
in the 2-liter can.
Yeah,
bottles. I mean,
you shake it and you list it.
The shake and bake. You know about that? No?
Yeah, you literally buy everything you need to buy, Sudafed pills and everything you need to buy. And it's like lithium strips from the battery, and you just, I don't know, get into a whole story on that. But yeah, you just shake it and it just it's like bathtub dope.
Wow.
And it works. It gets the job. I mean, but now like you said, it's so plentiful now.
Yeah.
I made a post the other day about it. I was like, if the southern border's closed down, why is there so many drugs in America still? I talk to my clients all the time, like, hey,
because they were only shutting down the illegal immigration. They weren't shutting down that. Nobody said they were shutting down the drugs.
Remember the fentanyl?
It's just people.
Fentanyl. Yeah,
that shit comes underground.
It does.
It's hard to find. I mean, they probably, come on. I take that back. We have to have a technology that can scan from the sky and see tunnels under the ground.
I forget what movie it is, but they're like in cahoots. Like they know about it. It's
well,
like, it's like an actual deal.
If you go back to the 80s, you watch the movie Snowfall. The CIA has always been involved in drug distribution because they have to have off-book money to fund things that can't be funded by line items on the government line item sheet.
Yeah. And I'll put my tinfoil hat on for a second.
I'm a tinfoil hat guy, so go.
It was crazy. Like these days, just like I used to be all about. Like, everybody talked about conspiracies, like just shut up. Now I'm like,
well, because so many of them are proven true.
That's why I'm like, now I'm open to it. I just like, get out of here.
Okay, wait. You went to sniper school.
I did.
Can we conspiracy theory for just 1 minute?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
Did this kid? Would it be possible that kid in Colorado killed Charlie Kirk?
A kid in Colorado. Utah.
I mean Utah.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I don't know. The only thing everything about it makes sense. Of the video they got in court, everything about it makes sense. The only thing that I don't agree with is, I grew up hunting, and I grew up in the military, hunting, and he shot him with a 30-06, right?
Would not have blown his neck off.
I don't see an exit wound never coming from that.
Right.
Even if it hits the spine. A 30-06 goes through 2 deer.
2 deer.
2 deer. 30-06 is. Its neck is a very.
What about the taking the gun apart and
and I don't want to speak on something I'm too educated. I know that I've talked to people who are like, I have some country friends back home.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I grew up country, but I left and don't go home for a reason because I'm not country, right? I don't pretend to be anymore. I don't like it, they said to take that thing apart would take minutes to take that thing apart, because it's not like an AR-15 or an M4. You pop a couple pins out, you fill it out, and it's not meant to break down. It's not meant to ever come apart unless you have to work on it, unless it breaks, right? Even cleaning it's not meant to come apart like that.
This episode is brought to you by Wolfpack Bags. This gear is meant for anybody gym, lifestyle, to anybody that's on the move. I like to say that us here and everybody that tunes in, we're not average. We're always a wolf. They have all the goods that you need, especially for anybody that is looking for a bag to carry their meal prep, a lunch pail, anything like that. They have you covered. So once again, go to wolfpack.com, use the code Hopeaholics, save 10%, and join the pack.
There's a lot of holes in it.
And there gives me reasonable doubt, though.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know.
Because he took it apart, too, and then he left the screwdriver, supposedly. Allegedly, that's the right word.
Yeah.
Allegedly left the screwdriver, then went somewhere, put it back together without the screwdriver. Maybe he had 2. It's possible.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. How do you get it back together without it?
Without the screwdriver that you left your DNA on? That seems real suspicious to me.
A lot of suspicious. And the thing about it is in the timing of Charlie Kirk, it broke my heart when he died.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
It crushed. I
couldn't. Somebody sent me the damn video like 5 minutes after it happened, before it got pulled down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, dude.
I thought it was fake.
I was hoping it was. And they said, I remember my wife were watching it, and it says, they're rushing him to the hospital. I said, babe,
he was dead.
That's that wound right there. You can't shut that kind of bleeding down. If he was on an ER bed, you couldn't shut it down.
No, you cannot.
Even if he was on an ER bed, they couldn't shut that bleeding down.
Nope, not possible.
And yeah, he was. He was such. And people, what kills him. What's even worse about the death is the way that people talk about him. Like he's some racist, crazy dude. And it's like his beliefs were just rooted in what the Bible is. If you think he's racist, then you have to think the Bible is. There's some things about the Bible that I don't fully agree with. A lot of things doesn't mean I have to agree with them, but I think on the whole, what Charlie Kirk stood for was good and open debate and
open debate is extremely important.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think it just seems like good versus evil, and it's like evil won that day, and I don't think it was. I think it had a lot to do with. I don't want to get into tinfoil. I think Israel had a lot. I think there was a foreign agent. There was a foreign government that was involved with that because he was strongly against. Us going that
and
way.
that just happened. You know, that he changed his stance a couple months before. And I don't know. Let's talk about you, man.
No, you're good. I can talk about it all day long for real. It upsets me, but yes. What were we at? Where were we at?
Well, we were at conspiracy only because you were back in Kansas, and you were telling us
you left your parents.
You left your parents, and then you got some charges for trafficking. Did you say
distribution?
Distribution
of meth.
Of methamphetamine.
Yeah, I think I got caught with like 3/4 pound of meth, but So,
and how are you?
That's a good amount. I've had a pound just like in my closet
I was
before.
doing too much.
How old were you at this time?
Fuck, I was in my 30s. This was only, it was 2017 that happened. So that was what 10 years ago almost. So I'm 43. I was 32, 33. Just got out of prison, 32,
okay.
And in my prime. You know what I mean? Yeah. So but one thing I was going to go back to, and I'll get back to the story, I promise, is that remember when doctors were prescribing all these, and that's kind of applicable to my story. Remember when doctors were prescribing all these pills, and people were just like you could go to any pain doctor and just get blood. Anybody.
Yeah,
no
because
insurance.
I was already working. I already owned a rehab when that was happening.
Yeah, and so. And the big thing was they were making all this money off that, right? They were making all the money off the pills, and that's why the big lawsuits came out. Well, they shut that down. Remember, they're like, doctors can't do that shit anymore. You guys got to stop it, right? So they stopped all that. And what happened right after that?
Heroin.
Fentanyl boost.
Oh, the fentanyl, yes.
Fentanyl flooded the United States right after that. I mean, I'm talking like almost to the freaking year. Fentanyl, and what happened after fentanyl? Because the pharmaceutical companies, I think there's the most evil people on earth.
Agreed. We agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as soon as they stopped prescribing all the painkillers, they had to find a way to prescribe. So what happened when fentanyl came in?
Well, for me,
Suboxone.
Oh.
Everybody's on Suboxone. They're giving it to clients coming out of prison who aren't addicted to anything.
Unfortunately, and this is the only thing that I really disagree with the sheriff of Orange County. They're putting people on Suboxone in the county jail.
They are in prisons and county jail. And I had a client that come out who was on methamphetamine, and they says he wasn't on meth in prison. He was clean, and they said, we want to put you on Suboxone and help you with your cravings.
Cravings for what?
He went craving. Go to a meeting.
All right.
You're craving for methamphetamines? Because I can guarantee you that Suboxone will do nothing for my craving for methamphetamine.
And it'll get me high, though.
Yep, and it'll want me.
I was on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'll get you high. You should put it in a spoon, break it down, and snort it. Water with water. Yeah, for real. And that's why I think the pharmaceutical companies are making the Suboxone money, and that's where all our money's coming from. Gratefully, I guess, I don't know, it's a double-edged sword. All of our money's coming from the fentanyl.
And the thing is that fentanyl is so much more addictive than heroin, than any other opiate.
Yeah,
it has a short half-life.
Yeah,
it gets you higher than anything, and then you need it. Like, it's cheap. It's cheaper.
It's crazy cheap.
And so, but you're going into withdrawals pretty fast. Did you do fentanyl at all?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
there's a drug out there. I did it.
Fentanyl wasn't around when I got it. It was
started
barely hitting the streets when I got clean. Everybody was still doing heroin.
Yeah,
black tar heroin out.
That was
here
my
in
thing
California.
too. Yeah, yeah.
So I never saw it. Well, I've seen it, but because it comes through the facility all the time. But
really,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a crisis, and the thing about it is I don't think that those two things happen by accident. I don't think that, because if you look at this, there's so much people that are getting put on methadone and Suboxone clinics. Remember that Suboxone clinics or methadone clinics were almost like obsolete a few years ago, 10 years ago, and now they're up and running. You see them everywhere.
That's crazy,
isn't it?
Yeah,
you've never even heard of that. And so I think that, I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I think there's no way. I don't believe in coincidences on anything, and I don't think that's a coincidence that all of a sudden I'm talking everybody's on Suboxone. Everybody, even if you're not even how do you put somebody on Suboxone who's not going through opiate withdrawals? I don't understand how that's
they're doing that all the time.
It's not Prozac, bro. It's a box. It's a
Yeah,
narcotic.
right,
dude.
right.
So, yeah, that's my.
It's very addictive, extremely addictive.
Yeah, it is.
It's the withdrawals coming off of Suboxone are actually worse than fentanyl withdrawals because they last so much
They
longer.
do. Yeah.
You know, fentanyl. Let's just cold turkey, right?
Yeah.
Cold turkey fentanyl. 5 days you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Fentanyl. I mean, Suboxone 30 days, man.
At least I have buddies that, and here's the thing, and I want to talk down like it doesn't work because I know that people that are on methadone or that are on fentanyl that use it to get off of it, it is very successful in that way. But the two things that I have problem with it are, one, I don't think that the doctors are. It's meant to be temporary.
Yeah.
Not for
Right.
years. It's meant to be temporary. So let's make sure that we're pain management in this stuff kind of way. You know what I'm saying? How are we knocking this down? What are you doing on the side of that? It's also a holistic view too. Like you need to be doing meetings. You need to be doing some other things because, as you guys know, getting clean is not about just stopping drugs. It's
Right.
about changing everything you do in life: your physical health,
Totally.
your spiritual health, your mental health, everything.
Well, and I feel like the narcotic from the Suboxone, it at minimum dilutes our spiritual connection with the higher power that we need.
Yeah.
That's so important in recovery.
Yes.
Because like I'm the guy that will tell you that I truly believe that AA got it right many, many years ago because I'm one of them, and I have a God-sized hole in my chest that I will put anything and everything except for God in it, and it never fulfills me until I get on my knees, until I'm broken. I mean, I do this in sobriety all the time. I'm like, and then I'm fucking back on my knees again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at least now I know to fall to my knees
Yeah.
and not to the fucking needle.
Absolutely. And I struggle every day with my character defects, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, as long as I don't use, I can get up tomorrow and try it again.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
That's it.
There's nothing that a drink or a drug will make you better in your life. Like nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And except for waking, I mean, God damn, could you imagine if you fucking, did a line today? First off, you're not going to sleep. But you're not going to wake up. You're going to already be awake. Could you imagine tomorrow morning when the sun rises?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
up.
That's the worst is when
You're
like,
up
you've been
because
up.
you haven't slept.
Ugh,
Yeah.
That's a sick feeling.
It is.
The way you feel inside,
Horrible.
it's just disgusting.
Grimy.
It is grimy. It's grimy, and you're like, fuck it, I'm already here.
Yeah.
I'm not coming down all the way. And I, it's so crazy. It's so because like, yeah, it is that feeling, and that's what I run that through. They call it playing a tape.
Yeah.
Right. I run that through every time I think I get a craving. I had a using dream last night in a hotel.
Oh my God.
I have
Wow.
so often.
I have them all the time too.
So often. I had the childhood trauma nightmares. Then I got the freaking army nightmares, and then I got the freaking prison nightmares. You know what I mean? Because prison was rough. You know what I'm saying? It was combat in there. You know what I'm saying? Except you didn't have your battle buddies.
Right.
It was the worst people out there. I was more afraid of my own people than I was anybody else. I pissed off the wrong person in ranks. I was going down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, last night, and all these crazy dreams come together, and I'm like, I just had it's like childhood mixed with prison, mixed with, it was like, it's crazy. But yeah, using dreams. And then guess what I did in my dream? I was like, oh, gotta get high.
Yeah.
Woke up this morning exhausted,
Yeah.
but sober.
I wake
Right.
up sometimes like, fuck, did I get am I on probation? Like all these things will happen to me in my dream. And then I'll wake up and I'll be like, no, you didn't get high and you're not on probation and your life is the way it's normally is.
Yeah. Yeah. Get up, drink some coffee, and start your day.
Yeah.
But you're exhausted from that sleep though. I sometimes I wake up like I feel like I slept none last night. And sometimes I'm afraid to go. And actually, the VA just prescribed me a new medication. I'm waiting for it to get in the mail to help with nightmares. Hopefully, it helps. The last one just made me like really, really tired all the time in the daytime. So, so I came back home. Distribution of drugs.
Yep.
And then I got caught up on forgery, felony forgery. Because I got into the gambling, okay, the distribution. So I got hit with distribution, right? And I was gambling a lot, and I was gambling all my distribution, all my drug money away. It's like I was like going back to, I was going I was getting like a pound at a time, right? And it would be like, you know, whatever it was, 3,500 to re-up at the time, and I'd be going back, making like 10,000, and coming back to dope. Man, I need a front on some of this because I don't have all the money. So what do you mean you don't have all the money? Because I was gambling it away.
Did he know you gambled?
Yes, he was. You know, and then people would give me money to go. I'll get you a good deal. Go give me some fronts, and so I'd go up front and give me money, and then I'd go gamble it for you. Start back, straight up, man. And I was, you know, but I was at this point, you know, like it's when I first started using, there's like things that I wouldn't do. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna cheat on my wife. 'Cause that's first month. I'm not gonna do that. Second month, I'm like, maybe. And then by the 6 months in, dude, there's nothing I won't do. Let's go kick in the door. Let's rob a cop. I don't care. Whatever we're doing, we're down. I'm down for it. Like it's like that separation from God is what that is for me. You know, like I just read Dante's Inferno. You know about the separation from God, and I really think that's kind of like that. What I equate that to was my separation from God as I got further into addiction, which is crazy. Anyways, tangent there. So, yeah, I was in county jail and COVID came along, and it kind of saved me. But I ended up spending 3.5 years in county jail. They put me out to distribution charge, and they gave me like 4 years in prison with good time. I got time served, so I got felony forgery. So this is what happened. I got all these cases, and I got indicted in Jackson County, Kansas, not Missouri. And that's not Casey, Missouri, but Jackson County, Kansas, which is a little small town. I got indicted up there for forgery, and they came and put a federal hold on me. They're like, yeah, he's going to prison for forgery. We got him on like $200,000 worth of forgery across 3 states. And I was like, good, I can go get this done and be like 3 years, I'll be out, right? No, they ended up dropping it because of COVID. They said, we got bigger fish to fry. They said, I wasn't that important. I was doing forgery, right? Wasn't running guns, nothing like that. And I started doing forgery because I got the distribution case. And I was like, well, I know that distribution is going to give me a life sentence. Forgery gives me 13 months in prison. So I switched over. I would use my military retired ID card to make fake IDs off that. And then go in there and do forgery, write checks to myself, wash checks, write to the fake ID, and no one's going to question a fake ID. I mean, if they did, I'd blow up. I'm a veteran. You know what I mean? Making them feel bad about me being a criminal. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to survive, man. Just give me some money.
So the military hasn't like updated their.
They have now.
They have.
I don't know because of me, but they have now. I have a new ID. finally have it because the government took my ID during this indictment went down. And I never got it back. I tried calling the feds, and they're like, "We don't have it, bro. Quit calling up here." And I was waiting to lose my benefits because I didn't know if that's they're going to charge me for that. You know what I mean? They never did. Knock on.
Are you past the statute?
Oh yeah, I already did my time on it.
Oh okay.
Yeah, I did my time on it, and what's crazy, man, is that I did all this time for this for forgery. They ended up dropping the cases and kicking them all back down to state. And so I went to 8 different county jails during COVID to fight these cases. That's why I racked up all this time I had, right? Have you been to county jail? You know what county jail is worse than prison than ever be. And I spent 3.5 years in county jail, going to county jail, going in, quarantine you, go to court. Yeah, I plead guilty. Sentenced in the prison, go on to the next thing. And they were all 14 months except the distribution case, right? So by the time I got it all done with, I didn't even go to prison for a day in Kansas. Not even one day. They sent me to RDU to the thing and then right back. Right, that was it. That was it. And which is in processing place, and they sent me right back. And I was like, so I got out, and you would think that let me back up from there. I got married in county jail to my third wife.
How did you meet your third wife?
In drugs. Where else do you meet girls at?
Wow.
I thought maybe on the bus to court.
No, she was in addiction. She had a boyfriend and meth addiction too, and I knew her old man, and then he was just, they had a kid together, and I think she was pregnant while we were in county jail, and I was in there with him for a while, and he ended up getting out, going home, and he ended up not taking care of his son, who was my 6-year-old now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so she ended up staying with me, and we never slept together or anything like that. We just knew each other as friends before this, right? And then they broke up, so we just like started dating when I was in county jail. And I was really when I was in county jail, I really had every intention of getting out and being doing what I was supposed to be doing. And I didn't. I got out. I used within 24 hours of being out. She got pregnant that night. A couple days later.
God.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I'm like, I don't want any more kids. What am I doing? And and my other two kids, this whole story's going on with my other two kids growing up without me. Mm-hmm. My oldest two, who are 18 and 17 now, and we have a good relationship now. Nice. Better. But I'll tell you about that. But so I get out of county jail. Promise her all these things. I get out. COVID's still going on heavy, and I get out. I start using again. I get her in addiction again. She's using again. She gets clean during the pregnancy for most of that. And then we had my daughter, and then I'm just out running amok. Forgery again, all over, back to the casinos.
Oh my God! And then, now we're in what,
2020? This is 2020. Okay, so I got 2021 is when I got out of county jail. I got out of jail on like right around January that year, 2021, and I was using, and I ran all 21, 22, and most of 23 using drugs. And my daughter was born in late 2021, and 22. She's 3, so whatever that is, 26, 23. So yeah, she was born I think 23, 22, and well, I was just on the run. I got more forgery cases, and I had 4 more cases, county cases going. This is where things starts trying to turn around for me. I remember sitting in county jail. I was on all these forgery cases. My wife was getting ready to leave me because I was just doing the most, and I have one person who stuck by me through all this. My parents had just, we're done with you. And everybody had all the right in the world to be like, Jess, we're done with you, right? You've told us you're going to change. You went through this, became a gang member and all this stuff. We don't want anything to do with you, right? And they had all these rights to do that. I had one person, a childhood, like a mentor of mine. He was a farmer too that grew up, and he let me stay in his house when I was going through all this addiction, and he got me into Celebrate Recovery. His name is Bob Timmons. And what Bob did for me was, he was somebody that just believed in good in people, right? He just believed that people would change, and he believed that he saw something in me, and he stood by me. He'd bond me out of county jail. I'd rob him, steal money from him, and he would just keep giving and keep giving and keep giving, right? And people would be like, why are you helping this guy out? He's a freaking disaster. He's never going to change, ever. And he's just like, I think I see something in him. I think God's going to use him one day. And I didn't think any of that. And I remember coming out and I wanted to get clean all the time. And I remember he told me one time, he's like, Jess, until you find God, you're going to continue to struggle with your addiction. And I don't believe it. I lost God, my faith in Iraq and all that stuff a long time ago. I don't believe any of that. But I went through all that stuff, and my wife was getting ready to leave me, and I was sitting in county jail on all these cases. And I remember sitting in that jail cell, and Bob was, he's still talking to me, and I told him and I told my wife that day, I said, I'm going to get out of here, and in one of these days, I'm going to use my story for good. I'm going to change a lot of people's. And I said, God told me that. And I was like, whatever, meth head. You know what I mean? And I got out. I relapsed immediately because I wasn't ready, and I knew I had to go to treatment soon because of the court-ordered treatment. And I went to treatment, and I was in treatment, and I actually got high at treatment when I was there. Someone brought some meth in, and I used 10 days into it. I got caught. And I said, what are you going to do? And they said, Jess. And that's when God hit me and was like, what are you doing, Jess? Your last chance at life. Your wife's getting ready to leave you. You're going to prison. You have Bob hanging on by a thread to help you out. Mm-hmm. And your decision was to get high. Mm-hmm. But that's the disease, right? That's what our disease tells us, is that it's okay if you're struggling with life. Get high. I was 10 days in. So I went to my counselor. I got caught, and I says, I want to stay as long as you guys need me to stay. Until I'm ready. You guys tell me I'm tired. That's when I just threw up my hands and I started my and I didn't even know I was starting a program then, but I knew I was starting a program of something, and it was like the NA program, the NA way. I worked NA, AACR, all those steps, but NA is still where my home group is, and CR is as well, and Leavenworth. And for the first time, I started taking suggestions from people that had more clean time than me, and that was what the biggest change was. As I moved to Leavenworth. And everybody's like, why are you moving to Leavenworth? You don't know anybody there. And I was like, that's exactly why I'm moving, because I don't know anybody. I don't want to start. I'm going to start fresh. I know I won't make it there. So I stayed 60 days in treatment, did really great there, moved there, did intensive outpatient, 90 meetings in 90 days, got a sponsor, the same sponsor I have today. I even fired him once. Like I was 3 months clean because I got pissed off at him and fired him and hired him again without telling him. I just called him up. After I fired him, I called him up. I was like, "Hey man, so when we doing step 5?" He's like, "What is going on?" I was just a nut job. Because I had all these. Like I spent 15 years in hard drug addiction, 25 years in alcoholism. I had no idea how to be a normal human being. You know what I mean? If someone called me out my name, I was still trying to fight him. So I did the 90 meetings in 90 days. I got clean. I got a job at a warehouse. I had 14 felony convictions. Well, I had 11 at the time. I was going to court case on these. All these judges in 4 different counties. Keep in mind, I'm an A-box felon. In Kansas means you go to prison for any felony. I went to the judge and said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing in recovery." I had Valley Hope write me letters and places say, "Hey, this is what he does." My corrections officer wrote letters saying he has not failed a UA. He's paid off all his fines within the first 6 months. The guy is doing great things. 4 different county jails, 4 different judges in Kansas gave me corrections. And it was like the biggest turning point in my life because what I did from there was I got a job, which is what I do now, which is a peer mentor. During all this time, I started going back to school. So I'm a senior at Fort Hays State University. It's a university in Kansas for social work. I had a lot of my credits transferred over, so I'm a senior. I will graduate next year, and then I'll go on to my master's program in social work to become. I could get my temporary LA licensed addiction counseling now as a student, but I'm just choosing not to because it's just too much going on with school and trying to finish school and everything. But I started working the program was the number one thing to save my life was working the steps. 90 meetings. I did probably 120 meetings in 90 days, and and 180 in 5 months. It was like I just did as many meetings as I could because that's where I needed to be at. And so I started working the steps. I built relationships back with my wife, my kids, my son who is 6 now. He has autism, so he struggles a lot. We didn't get him into the doctors as early as we could have because we weren't even. We knew that it was, we knew that he was struggling, but we were not even able to be there for him like we could until a few years ago. But he's doing stellar now. He's a rock star. He's graduated kindergarten. My daughter's very healthy. My oldest 2 kids are 18 and 17. I got to go to my son's graduation last year, and hopefully my daughter invites me this year to hers. So, and it's slow going rebuilding those relationships, right? And it's slow going trying to mend. And that's one thing I tell people all the time, and I tell myself that is I can't fix any of the trauma that I hurt people. You know what I'm saying? I hurt people, and there's people physically and emotionally, and there's nothing I can do to change what I did. But I can make sure that I don't make those mistakes again, and I can make sure that I set the example to let people know that if you just continue and invest in your higher power, invest in God, invest in your program, that all those things are going to come back at you tenfold. You know what I mean? The relationships, the success. What I was telling her before this, I said, what I call success today is not what I call success. The military was my success, right? How high a rank I can make it. Mm-hmm. Today, it's like, who can I help? And who can I, and so I'm able to go into community in Kansas City. And I have a really high client list right now, and just meet people in the shelters or meet people in the streets or Oxford houses, get them into Oxford houses, advocate, and have them just, I get to see people go from hospital bed. I seen a client go from hospital bed from alcohol poisoning to Oxford president of the house. You know what I mean? It's like, that's success. That's the best. That's, and it's not me that's saving lives. It's the programs that my company allows us to be able to do, the funding we have, and all those things that we connect these people to these resources that give them the success they need, and just model what recovery could look like, right? Like everybody's recovery is not going to look like mine. Your recovery doesn't look like mine, and yours doesn't. We have different programs. We have different ways we work our program, but as long as you're working an active program, then that's just what you can tell people. Whatever you choose to do, whether it's Buddhist recovery, Islam recovery, CR, whatever you decide to do, I'll support you through that. I'll even go to meetings with you and help you and walk you through that time. I'll help you interview a sponsor if that's something you want to do, or help you questions for a sponsor. How many times I have to get people email set up because people don't have email set up. I'll set up an email. Let's build a resume. Let's do all these things is, filling out. Our biggest thing is getting people documentation. I don't know why we addicts can't hold on to ID cards when we get high, but we cannot hold on to birth certificates, ID cards, or social security cards. And so that's my main goal is dealing with that. So yeah, the life that I have today, I told people all the time, I said, if I would, you know, I have 30, I'm almost at 1,000 days. Next month will be 1,000 days.
Awesome.
This is freaking amazing. I told, in the longest time I've had sober since I was 10 years old, 12 years old, you know, and I'm 43 now. I tell people all the time, if I would have prayed for a good life to have, you know, 2.5 years ago, a little bit more, I would have sold myself short on what I prayed for from what I have today. You know, it's really is insanity. And it's not from, I didn't do anything miraculous. I didn't do anything above and beyond. I just went to meetings. I took suggestions from people, you know, and everybody that come in and spoke to me at the treatment place when I was there said, no matter what background there was, no matter where they came from, what their struggles was, whoever was victimized, whatever it was, they all had 3 things in common. They said, go to meetings, work the steps, and get a sponsor. And if you do that when you get out, you're going to have, there's other things you can do to help your chances of success. Oxford Houses obviously increases that. But working a program of recovery was what they all 3 had in common. I said, if that's what they have in common, I'm going to do that. And my sponsor gives me recommendations, suggestions, I take them. You know, so learning that I don't have all the answers and throwing that ego away was probably the toughest battle I have to this day, is getting rid of that ego still, you know, and self-will versus, you know, God's will and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I was going to ask you guys both have a lot of recovery time.
A little bit.
A little bit of recovery time.
Bit.
What is, you work AA?
NA.
NA?
Yeah.
You work NA?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yep. I walked into my first meeting of Narcotics Anonymous on December 28th, 1996.
96. Man, I was in middle school.
Yeah, but then I also can tell you what not to do in recovery, because I've done those things, and then I've stuck a needle back in my arm.
Yeah.
I just took 9 years again in June.
Yeah. That's awesome. I've seen the video. You're awesome.
That one fucking did really well. That silly balloon video.
That was cool though. That was really
Right?
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're always trying. Costco, like, we don't, like, it's primarily Emily and I, we don't feel like we've succeeded unless we hit 100K views on every Costco reel.
Yeah.
Because
Those are good reels. They're good videos.
yeah.
I mean, that was one of the things that Suli said yesterday.
Who?
True Brew. Was like, oh my God, I love watching your guys' Costco reels.
They're good.
Which is like so wild.
That's like, that's what
so
people
wild to me.
say. Like, that's what people
It's good.
say to us all the time. I love watching your Costco
It's
reels.
you being you. I guess you guys are being just.
I think it's probably. Yeah.
It's us being our characters, at least for me. I'm a chat-addict at Costco. If I'm in a good mood, so if you don't get a lot of me in the video and it's mostly her, it's because I'm in a bad mood. It's not, when I say I'm in a bad mood, it's not that I'm in a bad mood and I'm a moody person. It's just that, like, I'm carrying a lot of stress these days, and you know, with my businesses. So I just, like, when I have tunnel vision, and when I get focused on, you know, saving my businesses, it's hard to get me to act like the fun Chad.
No, I get that. I can relate to that more than you know, because, like, there's days where I have to show up as Jess
gotta perform.
at work. Yes, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
No matter what I got going on
Yep.
at home, I can't bring that. It's not fair to me to bring that on my clients. And some days I'm just like, I sit in my car and I say a prayer, and I'm really thinking to myself, dude, I don't want to deal with these people. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to be around anybody. I don't want to look at myself in the mirror. Just some days I have a lot of and I'm stressing about, I got to make it through college. And you got to realize I'm going full time to school while I work full time with 40 plus clients I have right now. You know, and then I'm grateful for the problems. I call them Cadillac problems, right?
Yeah, we have Cadillac problems today.
You know, and
bro, I'm not like worrying about the next fucking fix I'm gonna get.
But I get hyper fixated on it, and I get, you know, then I get just like, then I'm like, and what keeps me out of it is doing service work, just going to a meeting, talking to somebody, you know, and I'm stressed about my social media, you know, because I came into social media, you know, and I have more like, I'm like middle of the road, but some of my ideas are conservative, and I came in and I messed up with my social media because I kind of got into politics more than I wanted to, and I'm probably trying to pull myself out of that because I don't want to be a part of that, because it's just too toxic, and I want to help people, not with this stuff. I'm trying to be better about that. So that was kind of one thing I think I regret about social media.
Liberals need treatment too.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Right, Emily?
No, and I think they're just. I think people make the problems the divide bigger than it really is. It's not that.
Oh, it's not.
It's not.
Even like this was the government's plan, the Great Divide. They probably sit up there in Washington together and fucking laugh. Look at us, how we got them doing this.
Absolutely.
The guy that hates the Trump the most on the political federal political scene, they're probably buddies.
Yeah. Well, the thing.
Who knows?
You
Probably
see
not,
you see him and Gavin get together and they love each other. Him and Gavin.
Yeah, they talk.
Fans. They're it's just. I think it's a game. I think this.
It's a game.
And what better way to control us than to have us not united?
Well, that's what drives people. You know what? My biggest reels that I've had on Facebook or in TikTok and Instagram, I have all three, is negative reels. And I had one that finally went positive. It was a joking reel, and I was like, thank goodness, because I was like, every reel that I have that has success is usually a divisive or like people arguing in the thing. It's like that's what drives people to the polls, though, is anger.
Yeah.
No,
let's go.
Well, it goes to show like humans just naturally gravitate to something negative or something that brings out something in them. Because look at you on social media, anybody's platform, they're gonna look at the negative comment way more than the amazing praise. They're looking at the 1, 2, or 3, whatever ones from some troll that's in a basement.
Yeah.
And that has like a faceless profile.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be hung up on it and be like fucked up all day over somebody's like really rude comment, that somehow triggered something in them, an insecurity in them that they have. But going back to what you were saying of like having those days of sometimes not wanting to show up for the clients, or you're feeling this, that, or the other like a normal human, those are the days why it's so imperative that we work and stay diligent with our program.
Yeah.
Because it always will bring us back, or at least in my case, I'll have those moments and stuff, but it's like, if I wasn't working a program, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's why it's so important to do what is suggested, whatever your program is of choice, and staying on top of it, because our problem is the way that we think. And if I don't have control over that and not letting God help me out,
right,
I'm running off to the races.
Absolutely.
And it will lead me back to picking up and using, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I'll die.
Yeah.
That's a real. Huh, do you mark it?
Yeah,
I do.
And that's what is so scary. I think the older that I get and the more that I'm infused in this life, where because of the podcast and because of actually being around the facilities and really being in the thick of it, has made me pour more into my own personal program than I have previously. And it's just so important for us to stay connected, because life is life and life is crazy and it's all over the place. But look at how far God has brought you. You're sitting on a podcast right now giving your testimony of what he has done. And you've been in the ringer from nonsense, forgery, to all of these crazy things. We're looking on the outside. It's like, oh yeah, he's done for this. He's not coming back from that.
Right.
Well, look what God can do to anybody at any moment, at any time. When you surrender, here you go. Game on.
Yeah. That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
So true. I tell people that all the time. It's like, if you saw me if you saw me on paper, you would have thought, 3 years ago, you thought,
it's a wrap.
Lifetime criminal.
For sure.
Throw him in prison, put him in mental hospital. Nobody would have cared about me if that had happened. You know what I mean? And that's why I think it's just so important to get the message. And that's why I thank you guys. It's awesome you guys even considered me coming out here to be on here. And it's like, that is why it's important for me to tell. That's why when anybody, I get a chance to testify anybody, they're like, hey, and I can't bring it up to clients. But I can't just go and start preaching to clients, right?
Sure, of course.
If they open the door.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm like, hey.
Well, and then we always have attraction rather than promotion. So usually people will hear you or see you and be like, oh, they're moving kind of different. They're a lot lighter. What are you doing differently? And that's a little bit of a door. But I want to say too, is what's beautiful about and what gave you that glimmering of hope, or at least from listening to your story, was the gentleman that had so much of the Holy Spirit within himself, that he saw something in you. What was his name? Tim?
Bob Timmons. Bob is he's still
shout out to him.
He's still the biggest, the strongest figure in my recovery today. You know what I'm saying? Because he had a stroke recently, and he's recovering from a stroke. I think, I about had a heart attack when he had a stroke. And we talk, sometimes daily, sometimes it's once a week, but we talk all the time. And it's just his only, what was crazy about it is he's the only thing I ever wanted to see you do was just be you. Be the you that I saw in you.
Sure.
And I tell people all the time, I say, you know what, for every serial killer there is out there, there's a Bob Timmons out there. There's a, because people always get so fixated on bad people in the world. It's like, there are so many good people out there. They just don't get the credit. They don't make the news for being great. This guy deserves.
It's boring.
It is.
Yeah. It's not negative.
Yeah.
We feed off of negativity. It's crazy. Why do you think that gossip exists? Why do you think people love talking about who's doing what, or your neighbor or whatever? It's just like some weird thing that's like in us that we enjoy.
Yeah.
Instead of listening about someone doing a good acts of service.
Yeah.
They'll get a little bit of light, but look at primarily like the news is just some type of school shooting or some type of negative thing that's going on.
I'm gonna have to have people start sending me my sending us their life resume before they come. Huh?
Why?
I'm playing, dude. Like the better the resume, the more we want you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I got a.
Oh yeah, he's saying your resume's full.
Yeah, I got a resume too.
I've been trying to catch up on you guys.
Yeah. High speed chases, Lamborghinis, fake, parties at my house where there was like nobody there. I was going deep into meth psychosis, man. It was good times. I was working for the CIA.
Oh man.
He really wasn't.
Yeah, I get it.
We always have to make that clear.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Could have.
Yeah.
Might have been.
Yeah.
We still don't know for sure.
Still no, we'll
Wait,
never know.
How are you and your wife? Because you said that you met her when you both were
In addiction.
Yeah.
She got clean with me, and women are so much. I tell people all the time, women are stronger than men are, for real. It's like, just like she's like, okay, I got clean. She stopped doing meth. I went to rehab. She went to her mom's.
Right.
Fuck,
Right.
I need jail or inpatient.
Yeah.
That's it. And I always tell people that I see people come in and I love to see people come back into the rooms narcotics anonymous. Not after they fail, but because they come back, and they say, oh, I relapsed. My name is so-and-so. I'm here for my white key tag. I'm like, bro, I give you so much trust. That's never would be me, bro. Never will you see me be like, oh, I relapsed. See me on the 6 o'clock news, okay? Catch me in the funeral home. That's where you're gonna see me at if I relapse. I know that, like you said, my addiction's that serious. I know that, and that's why I chase my recovery like I chase my next high, and I chased it hard. You know what I mean? Like I chased.
It's good.
But me and my wife we are a growing marriage, and we are doing. We both work. We go to church. We do the things together. I work my program separately. You know what I mean? She does her thing, and it's whatever she does. And that's the biggest thing about it. Is when I first got clean, I thought, oh, I'm working a program. My wife has to work a program. You need to go to meetings. She's like, I don't need to do nothing. Okay. She's like, I'll do what I want to do. I'm staying sober. And so my wife is. And that's the thing about it is, we want to control people, and we think that everybody has to do it. We say,
yeah.
And then one thing I'm learning is if you can't tell people, like, I can't set your goals. My wife's like, yeah, set me a goal. See how that goes for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kick that door in real quick.
Yeah.
And so, we have to work it. And that's what I've realized about being married for the 3rd time is that marriages take work, and it's constant work, and it's hard work, and it's really not the Lifetime movie that I grew up seeing, but it's definitely rewarding.
I think it does get easier though, because like mine's pretty, it's not that it's perfect. It's because I still act out. So my wife says,
yeah. Right.
It's never her. It's never
Absolutely
ever.
not.
But I understand that now. It's my fault.
Yeah.
I'm the one.
Absolutely.
I usually am the one, but I'll be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I'm usually the one that starts the fight, or whatever. And it's rare these days. But I think that we've done a lot of work on our marriage, and have gone through hell and back with each other, and we just celebrated 10 years yesterday from our first date. It was both of ours.
I feel like you guys have so many anniversaries.
We have 3.
Yeah, it's like I
That's
can't keep up because I feel like I just congratulated you like
For
a couple weeks ago.
For our
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was in March. That was our 9-year wedding anniversary. Now,
9 years.
So yesterday we celebrated 10 years of our first date. 6 weeks later, we eloped and got married in Las Vegas.
Really?
So
How cool.
we'll be married 10 years on August 31st.
That's awesome.
But then we had a big wedding.
So that's 4 anniversaries.
That's 3.
We still haven't had a wedding.
2, 3.
Oh.
Where's your wedding at?
Malibu at this place called Calamigos Ranch.
You guys live like the high life out here, man.
I'm divorced, so I can't say shit.
Yeah.
So
You had a pretty fancy wedding, though.
Did you?
it was on television. And I didn't pay for it.
It was on TV. Of course it was. Of course it was.
So, yeah.
It was an expensive wedding, though.
Very.
Yeah.
Thank God that I didn't put like my parents or myself through that financial burden.
Right.
Yeah,
They'd
I'd be
so
really
pissed
upset
now.
right
Your
now.
dad would be.
Oh, my dad would. My dad would go to Jonathan and make him pay him back.
He'd be furious.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I really enjoyed having you come down, dude. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so
keep doing
much.
what you're doing. You're an inspiration to people, that have lost hope.
Yeah.
Because you were once hopeless. And not only were you hopeless, most people, except for probably one person in God, probably had lost hope in you too.
Yeah.
And look at what you're doing now. You're gonna graduate with your bachelor's and go on to your master's.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to say, like, it's really great to have someone like yourself advocating as well for, our veterans out there too.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of them struggle. My dad goes to the VA, and I know there's so many like benefits to the VA, but there's so many negatives as well. And one of them is for our veterans to get treatment, or when they make the call, it's very unfortunate because it's the only time they get a response is if you're literally telling them you're going to kill yourself.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Go ahead.
No, and so I think it's like really a great to have your voice because, you did so much for our country. You have a Purple Heart for Pete's sake. And then these guys, go away to fight for our country, for our freedom. And then when you come back, regardless, put the drugs and the alcohol aside, you are suffering stuff that civilians that will never, ever understand. Because unless you are of the sort that has gone and experienced that type of experience, it's just like someone being in the rooms. That's why we're able to relate to someone in an NA or a CA or an AA meeting, and immediately we get the pain. Same with you guys. So it's like there's so many things that need to be treated, like PTSD and a lot of stuff that goes on at war, or that isn't talked about enough. And so for you to be able to have that life experience, have incarceration experience as well, and then to be sitting here today like a totally, man on his recovery journey is really important.
Thank you. And I'm so glad you brought that up because that's one thing I'm trying to advocate for right now. I'm getting no traction. But I actually wrote a letter to our senator in Kansas, and I was down in Florida, and I met the guy that was running against Byron Donalds. Forget his name. He's they running against the governor's race down there. I talked to him personally. He was in there for the Patriot store, and I was in there for him coming in there. Anyways, so one thing in 2016 when I relapsed, I went to rehab for and my stories could go on for hours, but I went to rehab at the VA. Went to PTSD rehab. After I went to the rehab and into a two-month program, it's called Stress Disorder Treatment Program. It's an amazing program, but I wasn't ready to get clean, and I relapsed right after I got out. But I relapsed and I went back to the VA hospital and said, "Hey, I relapsed. I need to get in here today to rehab." And they said, "Okay, go get an assessment done. Are you suicidal? Are you homicidal? No, then you got to go get an assessment and come back when you're ready." And I think it's what we have in the civilian world. Like we have one that part of our company is a crisis center. You go in there off the street, and civilians can go in, military can go in there anyways, but you go in there and they're like, "Oh, hey, I'm super high. I'm having a mental breakdown," or just a mental health crisis. You go in there, they get you But 99% of them are in there because they go get super high on PCP or something. They need to come down. So they go in there, they feed them, they house them for a few days, and then they kick them out to either treatment or outpatient or something. They give them, point them in the direction of resources, right? Give them that stop to, hey, why doesn't every VA hospital have a crisis center for someone to go in there and say, hey, I'm having either a mental health crisis or I'm really high, and it just be like a 3-day program where it's going to be like a case manager can be like, all right, let's get them sober. Do you want treatment? And I think we could prevent these suicides that are happening because no one's going to show up at the VA and be like, I'm suicidal.
No.
So they have, so we have a contract with the VA.
Okay.
So through Tri-West Healthcare Alliance.
Yes, it's my.
So they have something where the veterans. We're not a part of this because it has to be a psychiatric facility that is also part of Tri-West Healthcare Alliance and the VA contract, where they can go in there and on an emergency can get that.
Okay.
But it's not very well known, and there's nowhere near enough facilities that are eligible for that.
Okay.
We're actually trying to get it right now, so we're working on our taxonomy. And I think the system's so broken for veterans, dude. If a client calls our lines and they have Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance or any insurance, we can have them admitted to the facility for, detox or whatever within 4 hours.
Okay.
With our veteran contract, we have to get a referral from their from the VA,
to
which
get it approved.
Can take anywhere from the quickest these days is like 5 days, but we'll just call it 5 days to 2 weeks. Could be 3 weeks.
It's too long.
Which is way too long.
People die during that time.
And that's too much paperwork.
It's not and I don't want to, it's not the actual VA employee's fault in any way, shape, or form.
No.
They just following protocol.
Absolutely.
And it's sad to me because I feel like that if a veteran needs help, they should be able to get help faster or just as fast as the general population can. Now, in California, I will tell you, if you don't have private insurance, such as, a Blue Cross Blue Shield, whatever, if you have Medi-Cal, it's going to be 2 weeks to 4 weeks before you can get into a facility out here in California. We don't have enough beds.
That's insane.
And we have 17 million people on Medi-Cal. And we have 50-some million people in the state. So one third are on Medi-Cal. Crazy, right?
It's a lot. That's insane. And I don't understand, and I tell people, they don't even have to build, I tell people, we don't even have to build another wing to the hospital. We can just take the ER room, take one room and make it, a few beds, and make it where you can have case management, a psychologist on duty, and in a crisis wing would be great. But if it doesn't have to be that, it can just be have that where someone shows up and says, "Hey, I'm high right now. I want to get into rehab before I change my mind," because that's what I did.
Yeah,
and I went back out for 7 years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Not to say that I would have got clean. And I went to 7 rehabs before I got clean. Right,
Yeah.
it's my 7th one. 7th time's a charm.
Yeah,
But you never know when that's gonna click.
Right. And who's gonna be there for you?
Right.
And that's why it's so important. It's why there's so that thin line. You're enabling clients. You're just like, listen, man. Nobody gave up on me, and it took me 25 years of alcoholism, 15 years of addiction.
Right.
So why would I give up on anybody?
Sure.
And I get so frustrated. And I hear people say, "Oh, he doesn't want to change." How do you know? And people say, "Oh, homeless people don't want to get better." How do you know? Have you ever talked to somebody who's
I'm pretty
homeless?
sure there's like a stat, and it's like 66% of them want to change.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and because nobody tells them what the resources are out here.
Absolutely.
And, there's tons and tons and tons and tons of resources.
Yes.
And there's tons of people that are willing to help them. That they don't know about it.
Yep. That's why peers are so important.
And then they get and then oftentimes they get mixed up in the really, really bad shit that happens in our industry, and then that's what gets passed around, and people think they're going to get paid to do stuff. And no, dude, no. You want treatment, we can help you find treatment.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing is connect people with the right resource, because there are so many resources. There's resources that I didn't even know that my job exists. Excuse me. I didn't know that my job even existed before I got the job. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know this was going to be something I could do. This is what I do on my free time to help people.
Right.
Now, I'm getting paid. There is a clinical side. I have to do, I have to do client notes and everything like that, just like our other counselors do. But it's not. I'm not held to the same standard.
Sure.
As someone with a clinical license. So, I just think that the more we can take away that stigma, and so many people see mental health. So many people see drug addiction as like a moral deficiency, when it's like, anybody can get hooked on drugs, even someone who fought for our country.
I mean, that's probably the biggest thing I see in our comments, that like, I mean, it irks me, but I don't care because I just don't respond to anybody. But like, they'll be like, it's, they made the choice to fucking start using drugs.
I see it all the time. Nobody made you start using it.
Nobody made you.
Yeah,
no, they
whatever.
didn't. But
Whatever. I just
nobody made you eat all those fucking donuts and Coca-Cola, and now you're diabetic.
Yeah.
Either.
No one made you decide to
bet your
troll
house, or nobody made you bet your house, and now you don't have a home anymore for you and your family. So it's like it goes with everything. Nobody forced you to go and work out 20 hours a day, and now you have your bones. Like, everybody that is like, substance and alcohol is just one thing. There's like a many addictions in our entire like world.
Yeah.
So
and it all stems from pain and trauma.
Absolutely.
It's just like.
And control. Those are all things that like we want to control.
Yeah, we want to control not feeling.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't stick a needle in my arm today, because even with stress, like, I actually know how to feel my feelings today. It's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Even the ones I hate. And I don't like necessarily hate like stress. Like, stress doesn't really bother me. Sometimes it gets to be a little bit too much, but I know that I have a God that's way more powerful than I am, and he shows up. He shows up.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
For me, it might be the, past midnight, but like, people always say the 11th hour, right? Yeah. But sometimes for me, I'm like, bro, I needed this 4 hours ago. Yeah. But he always shows up no matter what. And I know he's gonna.
Yeah.
I know he's gonna. And like, that's the one thing I hope. And in your story, I heard you get the gift. You got the gift that I hope that everybody receives, everybody that listens to our podcast, everybody that comes to our meetings. And like, I'm going to beat that one until the end of time, because there's one gift that we can receive. And when we receive that gift, everything changes. And that gift is the gift of desperation. Mm-hmm. You felt that gift when you were telling the part about you relapsing at 10 days. And then you had a moment of like, I'm gonna lose everything. Mm-hmm. And you said you threw up your hands. When you threw up your hands, that's the gift of desperation. You become out of ideas and willing to listen to other people and do what they do. And you have no more ideas. I hope everybody runs out of ideas when they get to rehab. Come in here. And I'm not saying you can't come in having still good ideas, because I went plenty of times. I'm like you, 15, 17 rehabs. Yeah. Most of them detox, and then I left. Right. And I like to always remind people the gift of desperation spells G-O-D.
It does. I like that. I never knew that. And I hear a lot of the the different slogans and everything all the time. That's amazing. I tell people all the time, like, the people that struggle the most with recovery, the people that can't find their higher power. Yeah. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It is 1,000%. And I'm always like, I try to just kind of nudge them, because there's so many who had the church trauma or distant bad. And most people don't have church trauma. A lot of people don't have. I'm not saying that people don't have it, but a lot of people just like, they hear people having church trauma, and they're like, oh, the church is so bad. And then every time,
I'm not doing that. But bro, higher power doesn't have to be Jesus Christ. Yeah. Just start with something. Just pray. Pray to something you don't even believe. That's cool too. Like, you can. That's what's cool about Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. That they got that right. Like, just pray to something. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to believe. You could just believe that I believe. You could not believe at all and just say, whatever's out there, I need you to help me. Reveal yourself to me. And then you start your spiritual journey. And that's what I like too, is because like in NA, you know this because you're an NA person. You know, in our readings, it says we're a spiritual, not religious program known as Narcotics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Like, most people aren't afraid of spirituality. They're afraid of Christianity.
Yes.
Yeah, they're scared of religion and church.
Yep.
And
As soon as you say church, they run.
Yeah, exactly.
Run.
And
Run.
like, that's what's cool about like AA. Like they, you know, AA, they're the granddaddy, right?
Yeah.
And you read their stuff. It's like they got a book called For the Agnostics, or We the Agnostics.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to believe.
Right.
Just come, be a part of the group.
And they have a chapter on the atheist.
Yeah.
Our Facebook posts, Emily, are the people are like, AA's a cult. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
AA is a cult.
You know how many people I found that have found God through working the steps and just working it within just a higher power
Totally.
of mind.
Yeah.
Just have nothing. Make it the meeting. Make your family. Make whatever
Yeah.
it is, and then they find.
I came back to Jesus through the 12 steps.
Yeah.
I knew him before. I just was over it.
There's one with all power. That is God. May you find him now. Everyone, if you think about it, when you go to a meeting, everyone always ends up saying higher power and then or Jesus or God or whatever. No, I have not yet. And I've been around the rooms for a long fucking time. I have not heard anybody say to my higher power, the tree, to my higher power, the sky, to my higher power, like all the little things that they do initially, like lead people into, like, it doesn't matter what you believe in, believe that I believe.
Right.
Hold on to that nugget. When it comes down to the nitty gritty and people do go through the steps, all of a sudden,
I will
Just
say,
say.
technically in, the 12-step rooms, you shouldn't divulge who your higher power is. There is a tradition on that,
Yeah.
and that way that you don't. It's fine we divulge it here on a podcast. This isn't a 12-step meeting, but you can call it God, you can call it a higher power, but you shouldn't really divulge that so that everybody can have their own open interpretation to.
Yes.
It's in there.
She don't shut people down, and that's the thing about it. I try not to. You know what I'm saying? I get so excited.
but so
But
many
you got-
people do it though.
Yes.
Like when they say, and it's because we have freedom of speech and what is your experience.
Yes.
So it's like, so when people do share, I hear them say, thank you to my higher power, which mine happens to be God. So it's something like that where it's like,
that's okay. You can even say which mine happens to be Jesus, but you got to be. We do have a responsibility as members to not scare people away who are afraid of Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually had a guy, some NA Nazi guy, who knows the steps and the traditions extremely well. He wrote me a long thing about our responsibility, and I actually was like, oh, I kind of forgot about that, and I do have a responsibility to people. But you know what? Through the podcast, man, I hope you find Jesus.
Yeah.
and
Like,
I don't
hope
care.
you find Jesus.
I don't care. I'm going to say, like, it's my personal experience and take that for what it is. Because if I don't stand on my own, then what am I standing for?
When
and
you,
it's not,
when you
and
share
it's
out
not
a meeting,
judging.
though, are you talking about, do you say the word Jesus?
I mean, only if it's appropriate for the share. But 9 out of 10 times, if I'm sharing from like a raw, vulnerable spot, I probably am not talking about, or maybe I'll bring it back to, where I always go to the solution, and my solution is him. So possibly, I don't know. If I'm going to share like on a birthday share or something, most definitely I'll open it up with, I have to give all glory to the one that got me here.
Yeah.
And that is him.
I like that you said there's always solution. I get so frustrated with people. That's why I tell people to go to a meeting with your sponsor when you first early on, and clean that way your sponsors can tell you how to share, show you how to share better, right? And I not tell you how to share, but tell you what to share more and less of. It's like, what is the solution?
Right.
I can't stand people coming
Right,
in
I know.
and complain about your day. I don't
It's
care.
so hard. Yeah,
I
I know.
care about you, but I don't care about your
Right,
freaking day.
right,
What are you
right.
going to do about it?
Yeah.
What do you bring to the table for the person who just got in here
Sure.
to hear? That's why I never bring a problem without a solution or without
For
bringing
sure.
up for, hey, I'm struggling with this.
This is going
This
on
is
right
how
now.
this is how my day went.
and this is how I'm trying to cope.
There you go.
And I know that he's going to be there for me. I know I'm going to get through the storm, but it's just so hard right now. You know, it's like some type of something, because I know those meetings sometimes where you hear people and you're just like, bro.
But it's
what?
when you hear those, it's your turn to share. If it's bothering you, it's your turn to share.
Sure.
And not to any way share at them.
No,
but
bring it
just
to the life
show them
of
how
the
sharing
meeting.
goes.
Yes.
And not say anything about what they said.
No.
Just share.
Right.
Bring you know,
Bring solution back.
Bring solution back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bring solution back.
And I think that's the very thing about it, is like, no matter what people have, like, and that's another thing, is like, no matter what your addiction is, whether it's meth, alcohol, what program you work at, it's always comes back to, I tell you, I never met anybody, I don't think I've met anybody in prison who had a great childhood.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I never met anybody. And the people that have PTSD, just a lot of people don't realize this, a lot of people that have PTSD, and majority of people that have PTSD, generally, combat trauma I'm talking about, have childhood trauma of some sort that they were never able to work through.
The PTSD probably came before you. The original PTSD came before the combat trauma.
Absolutely, and it's just because you're not a healthy person. Like, I seen people who went 7 deployments, be like, I'm fine.
Like how
Sure.
like
Sure.
look, can we just really quick before we shut it down? It's totally off topic, but
I got nothing but time, brother.
What's his name? The Navy SEAL that you know. I think he's down in San Diego.
Oh, Jocko.
Jocko's done some shit.
Yeah,
I've seen some
those
shit.
serious dudes.
I can't say that he's not I don't know him. I only know him from like online stuff, but he seems to be handling it okay.
A lot of those dudes had a good upbringing, and they had good. When you teach your kids how to handle adversity and trauma, and you don't inflict pain and trauma on your kids, they have a lot better way of handling adversity later on in life.
And I think it's like really being like, I don't want to say disciplined, but routine is very important. So if you're able to stay diligent with like a specific routine, obviously anybody that follows Jocko online, he is very like militant with his like
his everything.
Like his 4:30 or 5 a.m. and, you know, gets a workout in, this, that, and the other. And I think that's what keeps him sound and sane, as opposed to sometimes if you are
chaos.
Yes. Exactly.
I have to stay organized, and my biggest struggles is when I don't have my routine of night sleep going on, right, and I get disrupted because my nightmares and stuff. But I have to make sure that I stay. My weekends, I feel like my weekends are like the least progressive time of my life, because I'm like, I spend time with my kids and stuff like that. But
because there's no like structure, like actual things that have to, either you need to be somewhere or this has to get done. You're just kind of like, oh, I get to plan this, and that's not good.
I was working in a parking lot on my phone, texting my work, or emails, answering emails before I came in here in a parking lot about a client that needs his IDs and stuff. You know, I have to stay structured. I have to stay involved with stuff.
Yeah,
I guess that's my addiction now, is chasing, you know, the recovery, chasing down people to get clean and bring them to God.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So you guys are awesome.
Jess, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much.